Welcome to Bulldog News Now. I'm Summer Gray. Here's what you need to know. Over the weekend, SC State and the surrounding Orangeburg community commemorated the 57th anniversary of the Orangeburg Massacre. Prior to the commemoration, there was a march held for the 3 young men who lost their lives on that tragic day. Students marched from Smith, Hammond, and Middleton Memorial to the Bulldog Den to honor their legacy. On the topic of honor, South Carolina State University presented the Smith, Hammond, Middleton Social Justice Award to Thomas L. Jackie Kennerly and Dr. Willis Ham. Both men were seniors at SC State when the Orangeburg Massacre took place. Kennerly was one of the 28 attendees injured during the protest. Ham, who was the leader of the South Carolina Human Affairs Commission from 1992 to 2000, served as the keynote speaker for the commemoration. If you're familiar with the story of the Orangeburg Massacre, one of the reasons students and others were marching was for the integration of a bowling alley. BNN Karen McGowan had an exclusive interview with someone who was hoping to turn the now closed bowling alley into a special place for the Orangeburg community.
Today, I have a very special guest with me, Ellen Zischultz. Ellen is the CEO, founder, and president of Center for Creative Partnerships here in Orangeburg. One project that the foundation is in charge of is restoring the bowling alley, which was the center of conflict for the Orangeburg Massacre. So, Ellen, what can you tell me about your efforts to restore the bowling alley?
Okay, well, first of all, when I came to Orangeburg in 2005, I've been here a while now, I came as the director and curator of the I.P. Steinbach Museum and Planetarium at SC State, and I taught there.
Okay.
You cannot be on the campus of SC State and not know about the Orangeburg Massacre and not care about it in terms of history for the city, but history for the country and the world. So when I retired and left the university, I made my company into a nonprofit, and I was able to get ownership for the company of All-Star Bowling Lanes. We now are preserving it. It will have 16 bowling lanes. It will have a lunch counter, outdoor tables, a place for community to get together for discussions and films. And I'm really excited about it. We have gotten so far $2 million from National Park Service.
Well, that's good.
So,
$2 million is
yeah,
nothing
the
to
next
sneeze
thing we're
at.
going to do is the sign on the marquee, and then it's going to look really nice when there's a facade. And for the facade, we got not only the money from National Park Service, but from the city of Orangeburg.
Okay, so what phase is the project in now? How far along have you gotten?
We are just starting phase 3.
Okay, so what are you doing in phase 3?
Okay, well, phase 1, when we got the bowling lanes, there was a forest growing on the roof, and the roof was leaking everywhere. So we removed the forest and we put a roof on, and we put a roof, same kind of roof they had in 1968. Mm-hmm. So it's concrete gypsum over formboard.
Very specific.
It's really pretty, it's white. And then the other thing that we did in phase 1 was there was hazardous material all over it. And we got the asbestos removed with also the help from DHEC. So then we got into phase 2, and we made the concrete walls and the outside so that it was fixed up, painted the outside, and then inside we started working on it, and we hired 5 engineers and an architect to put it together and do the plans. We just got approval for the plans for 100% planning.
Okay.
Okay, so we've started doing a roughing of the plumbing and the electricity. So what we're going to do now is totally new electricity, totally new plumbing, restrooms, and a lunch counter. Yeah, we could choose restrooms.
Okay, so as a student here at SC State, we go to the memorial ceremony every February like clockwork. Why should we take an interest in the Orangeburg Massacre? as students on the campus of South Carolina State University?
Well, for several reasons. The direct one is it was students of South Carolina State and Claflin organized at South Carolina State by a student then, it was John Stroman, and the students wanted to bowl. Now, they wanted their rights because in 1964, the federal government passed legislation that said that you couldn't keep people out, you couldn't segregate public facilities. In Orangeburg, there were only two facilities that were still segregated, the hospital and the bowling lanes. So one of the things was the students wanted their rights. But I have found out there was another reason. Students wanted to bowl. And bowling, I found out, because we're partners now with what now is the National Bowling Association, that started in the 1930s as the Negro Bowling Association. They're helping us because they said that social justice in bowling came about through the Orangeburg massacre. So it's really significant in a lot of ways on a national level. So they will be able to bowl soon. What we're doing is we're taking a building that has a horrendous history, and we're turning it into a community facility for the whole community, which will have history in it because we believe it's really important to preserve history. But it will also have sports, entertainment, a place for families to get together.
It's more than just a bowling
showing
alley.
of films. It's going to be a major community facility. And we're already on the national network that National Park Service has for African American Civil Rights Network.
Okay, so in terms of notoriety, as you mentioned, it is very important nationally for other notable events like during the Civil Rights Movement, such as the church bombing and the Tulsa Race Massacre. Why do you think the world doesn't know more about the Orangeburg Massacre?
I think there were several reasons. One, which is a simple one to explain, is that people here did not want anyone to know. So they had the city police, the state police, the federal police, and they didn't want it to be known because this was the first murder of students on a campus in the country. It was 2 years before Jackson State and 2 years before Kent State.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And also, we had 3 students murdered and at least 29 wounded. And those 29 have been suffering their whole lives. So you can see they didn't want that to get out. But there were other reasons. The Vietnamese War was going on. Martin Luther King was murdered the same year. Robert Kennedy was murdered the same year. So there was a lot of violence going on. But with what we're doing now, the world is going to know. In fact, they're already taking notice. And we had a film crew come from London, and they did a show on the Discovery Channel.
That's good. That's a lot of awareness being brought. I like that. So what other things can we expect from Center for Creative Partnerships?
Well, one thing you can expect is that we're going to have that building finished. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be open to the whole community, and people will come. The second thing, let me just say there are a couple of other projects we're doing now. We have a grant for the facade, and so we're going to be working on that, and that's with the city's help and National Park Service. And we also have Preserving History Project, and we're doing our last filming for it this weekend with the commemoration. And we'll get some of the march the students are doing and film the commemoration and Willis Ham speaking there. And then we're going to ask people if they're here for the commemoration, would they like to be interviewed that day? We have interviewed families of the kids that were murdered. We've interviewed survivors, families of people, but we're also trying to say, what was it like in Orangeburg for people before the massacre, during, for the people that were there, and also after? How did it reverberate through the city, and what can we do for reconciliation as we move forward? So that we have a professional producer doing that, Christy Anderson, who won a Primetime Emmy for Zora Neale Hurston, Jump at the Sun, which is a great film, and a professional videographer. And we hope sometime we will not only have things for the community, but we will also have a film from it. Another project we're doing is the metaverse, which you are a part of.
Right.
And Paul Turner is the one who's in charge of that, and we are putting together photographs, drawings, 3D images to put together, and also mapping. And we're putting it together. We're going to have an exhibition in March for the whole community. The thing that's really interesting to me, one of the things we're getting is, Paul found the actual blueprints for the railroad station, the train station that was at Railroad Corner. And we are going to reproduce it with a 3D printer, working with SC State, who have 3D printers in the engineering department and has someone in the art department that knows how to use it to do this. So we will have that, and the exhibition is going to be really interesting and fun. We also are working now on a trail. What I want to do on the trail, I'm working with the person who did the Civil Rights Trail in Birmingham, which is a really nice one. But I want to have a little bit different emphasis. For instance, we're going to start at SC State, where the massacre took place. But when we get to Railroad Corner, there's nothing left of it because it's been torn down. So what I'd like to do as we get to different places is say, this is the history, because if you don't preserve your history, it's going to keep happening. And then I want to put, now what we have here is the Cecil Williams Civil Rights Museum and housing for SC State and Claflin. So we've taken something here that had one history, and also the segregated theater, that the black theater was there, because it was the original black business district. And we're taking that and we're doing positive things in the redevelopment of Orangeburg.
Okay, so when do you think we could expect these projects to be done? Like a tentative timeline, possibly?
It's kind of hard. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do the bowling lanes and the sign at the street and finish maybe 3 years.
Okay.
And we will have, by next summer, we will have at least a couple of art pieces actually up for the trail. And for the metaverse, we will have an exhibition so that we can show people what Paul's been doing and what the interns are doing to put that together. And the interns are learning about how to use art and photography together with AI.
Okay, so you have a lot of projects going on. Sounds very busy. How can we get involved as students or even just interested parties in the community?
I would love to have students involved. One thing I would like to do is have a student friends of Center for Creative Partnerships that would actually work with us, like a student advisory committee, because there's nobody more important in what we're doing than the students here. So I think the students should be involved, and I think the students will want to be involved because it's part of the history of the universities.
Right.
So I'm hoping that that will happen. Today I met the person who's an officer in NAACP, and he wanted to know how can we get involved. So I think it's really important to have students involved. And of course, internships is another way. But SC State is definitely part of what we're doing. And the president of SC State is on our board. And also the president of OC Tech and the president of Voorhees.
Those are a lot of important people and a lot of good connections. Well, I'd like to thank you, Ellen, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come and be interviewed. I know I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. This has been Kira McGowan from BNN. Happy Black History Month.
If you want to find out more about Ellen's project, you can go to the website centerforcreativepartnerships.org. We wish Ellen the best of luck with her project. This past Sunday, the Super Bowl was held in New Orleans, Louisiana, where the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles played against each other. While everyone celebrated the victories of the Eagles, there was another gridiron at play. This year's halftime performance was done by Kendrick Lamar, who brought out special guests such as SZA, Samuel Jackson, Mustard, and Serena Williams. Kendrick's 13-minute performance caused an uproar on social media amongst viewers due to the layered language of his show. While some people argue the performance was bland, others argue that there was a deeper meaning behind Kendrick's presentation. I went out to speak with students about how they felt about the show. Let's see what they had to say.
So I love the Super Bowl halftime show for the simple fact that Kendrick Lamar wasn't afraid to speak against our very colorful president. And I also love the fact that we had a black Uncle Sam on stage, and that was really cool.
I'm Bella Joy Irving. And I'm Alicia Owens. The thing I can say about the halftime show, I enjoyed it. I felt like it had a great message in it for our culture.
Yes, and I also think that it was very good for society to see everything that's going on because the message was very prominent to everyone.
I really enjoyed the halftime show. It was more than just a performance and showing music, but it was more of giving a message. It showed what could be corrected and what needs to be done in the nation.
Turning the page to sports, SC State basketball is still in action. You have an opportunity to see both the men and women teams at home this weekend as they play against Morgan State University. The men's game starts at 4 p.m. and the women's at 2 p.m. The men are currently 11-12 overall and 4-3 in MEAC, while the ladies are 2-21 overall and 1-2 in MEAC. Now to what's trending. Of course, we know eggs have gone up in price, but have you checked the chocolate? Well, chocolate candy prices are higher for the third straight year. Cocoa beans, which is the major ingredient in chocolate, is more expensive because of the weather changes. Despite the prices, some retailers are reporting steady sales as Valentine's season wraps up. I'm Summer Gray, and that's what you need to know. Enjoy the rest of your day.